Hey guys, in this module, I want to talk about one of the most important parts of this process of rebuilding, restoring your relationship. And that is do not give up. You see, the reason why I named this community, this course, The Unwavering Husband, is because as I was working with men, one of the hardest, one of the most challenging parts of the process is to not give up. There will be times where things get really, really difficult. There will be times where you just want to give up and you want to quit. And if you give up, it's going to be over. You see, transformation happens on the other side of pushing through that point where you wanted to give up. Just like going to the gym and working out. If you went to the gym and you always push to the same level every single day, you're not going to grow. You're not going to get stronger. You get stronger by pushing yourself just a little bit more, pushing just past that point where you could before. And each time you push that past that point, you grow a little bit. That's what this is about is we want to push past that point where you want to give up. That's where you're going to grow. That's where the transformation is going to happen. And that's where your wife is going to notice the change. 1 Corinthians 16:13 through 14 says, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Let all you do be done in love. Notice the stand firm. And that means don't give up, don't back down. Be strong. We got to be strong through this process, guys. Okay. Our wives, if you're like most of the men that I've worked with, our wives, their emotions are kind of like a storm that rages at times. And one of the most important things you can do through this is for you to be that steady force, that immovable force, that lighthouse, that beacon, so that while she's going through that storm, you're providing that strength that offsets her instability. Galatians 6:9, this is one of my favorites and one that I recommend that you repeat to yourself every single day. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Okay, we'll not reap if we give up. Don't grow weary of doing good. Due season, we don't know when that season is. We don't know how long the journey is going to be. But what we do know is that if we do good, we will reap. And I'm going to tell you that doesn't necessarily mean your relationship's going to be restored. Sadly, that's not always the case. But what we do know is that God will reward you at some point for the good that you do. This battle is sometimes hard. And other times it's really hard. It's not easy, guys. There will be times where you're going to want to give up. And if you give up, that battle will be over. If you give up, she's going to say, see, I knew it. I knew you really didn't want to change. I knew that old you was still there. I knew you were just trying to manipulate me. You must stand firm and be strong. So how do we do this? Well, here's the secret. It's not your strength. Philippians 4:11 through 13 says, not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I've learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Hey guys, again, this process can be like a roller coaster. There will be times where it feels like you're on the right track and things are going pretty well. And then there'll be other times where it just all comes crashing down. You feel like you're right back to where you started. And you go through enough of those cycles, it begins to feel hopeless. It begins to feel like maybe there's just no reconciling. You have to learn to be content in all those circumstances. And the secret to that is by doing all things through Christ who strengthens you. If you rely on your own strength, your own willpower, you're going to fail. I'm sorry to say, guys, but one of the most important parts of this process is to learn how to become humble and to recognize you can't do this on your own. And that's okay. You don't have to do it on your own. You've got someone who's a lot more powerful, someone who can actually change hearts, soften hearts, open eyes, open ears. You must rely on God. His strength never fails. Ecclesiastes 4:9 through 10 tells us that two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Sometimes we need to have other men, other godly men around us who can lift us up. And other times we can be that man to help lift other people up. And that's something I'm going to encourage you as you go through this process, as you become stronger, that you can reach down and help some of the other men to lift them up too. That's what the Men of Valor group is about. That's what the Unwavering Husband community is about having those men around you. And I hope you've got some church men as well, some people in your local church that you can actually physically be around on a regular basis. You need to enlist the help of other godly men to lift you up when you need it. All right, now, when is the time to give up? Ephesians 5:25 says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. So our model is Christ and what he did for the church. When did Christ give up on us? Did he say, if you do your part, I'll do my part? Right? As long as you're doing your part, I'll continue doing my part. Now, the truth is that while we were selfish and sinful, he went all the way to the cross for us. Right? The word says that God showed his love in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died on the cross. It was sacrificial type of love. It was an unconditional type of love. It was an action-oriented. He did something for us, something that we could not do for ourselves. And so when should you give up? Well, if the model is Christ, you got to look at when did he give up on us? And the answer is that he didn't. What did your wedding vows say? They probably said something like, I take you to be my wife, to have and hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love, to cherish, till death do us part. It doesn't say until it gets hard. It doesn't say as long as she's lovable. It doesn't say as long as she respects you. Now, you see, marriage is a covenant. It's not a contract. A contract says, I'll do my part as long as you do your part. But if you stop doing your part, you broke the contract. It's over. I don't have to do my part anymore. The covenant says, I'm going to do my part, even if you don't do yours. And I'm not at all about to say this is easy, guys, because it's not. In fact, this is incredibly difficult. One of the things that I heard that really was transformable for me many years ago was that your wife needs you to love her the most when you feel like loving her the least. So when she's acting in ways that are really difficult to love, and I'll be honest, like most of the guys I work with, if not all the guys that I work with, have had those experiences where their wives are incredibly difficult to love at sometimes. When she's the hardest to love is when she needs you to love her the most. The reason why is because when she's hard to love, it's because she's got things going on inside of her. She needs your strength. She needs to see that you're going to show up. She needs to see that unconditional love for you or from you. So when do you give up? Well, what's your wedding vow say? If you're still alive, and I know that if you're watching this video, you're still alive, it means it's not time to give up. All right, guys, watching videos is great. It can kind of give you some concepts, it can give you some framework, some things to do. But the more important thing is that you actually take action. Your wife doesn't need to know that you watched a video. Your wife needs to see action. So it's time to take action, guys. Here's some action items for you to take. First off, suit up in the armor of God. Okay, this is not a battle of flesh and blood. This is a spiritual battle that's going on. And so, in order to do that, you want to pray every day on your knees. Pray like your life depends on it. You want to read your scriptures every day. And I highly recommend Galatians 6:9 twice a day, every morning, every night, to remind you to not give up, to keep doing the next right step, even when you don't feel like it, even when she's pushing you away. Just do the next right thing. Daily and weekly worship, and worship comes in a lot of different ways. It can be listening to music. It can be just giving gratitude to God for all that he's done for you. That's what worship is about, is recognizing God and expressing to him how much you love him, how much you appreciate him. Doing that every day, going to church on a weekly basis and worshiping at church. Finding some fellowship. You need to identify and enlist 2 or 3 godly men who you can reach out to when you need it. Okay, again, woe to the man who does this alone, because if you stumble, you don't have anybody to lift you up. So find 2 or 3 guys. If you don't have anybody around you, if you don't have anybody in your church community, in your friend circle, reach out to some guys in the Unwavering Husband community. Join the Men of Valor group. But you need to have some guys around you to support you through this. And then the third piece is mindset. The attitude that you bring each and every day is going to have a huge impact on how you feel and how you show up. So here's 5 ways that you can try to foster a positive mindset. And I'm going to tell you guys, this doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. Consistency over time. And I'm also going to say, like, don't try to do all of these things all at once. If you try to do every single one of these things every day, if you haven't been doing them on a regular basis, it's going to be too much. So I want you to just pick 1 or 2 to start working on. And once you've got a rhythm, once you've kind of built those habits, usually it takes a few weeks before you've built those habits successfully, then you can add another one to the list. Start small, because if you start too big, right? I had a client years ago, and he wanted to build the habit of exercise. And so he said, you know, Nick, I'm gonna set a goal of 2 hours in the gym a day. Okay, this is a guy who had never been to the gym, and he said, I want to go to the gym for 2 hours a day. And I said, you know, I think that's a little too much. Why don't we start off smaller? And he said, no. I want to go all in, 2 hours a day. Okay. 3 days later, I reach out. Hey, how's it going on your gym? Go to the gym. And he's like, Nick, I went for 2 days and it was too much. I gave up. So I said, okay, I want you to commit to just going to the gym for 15 minutes a day. If that means that you just hop on the treadmill for 15 minutes, that's fine. If you just go and do 1 or 2 exercises, that's fine. I want you to build the habit of showing up to the gym on a daily basis. I said, okay, I can do that. A few days later, I reach out. Hey, how's it going? He said, you know what? I committed to 15 minutes a day. I've been averaging 45, right? Start small and work your way up. The idea is consistency. You don't want to just try to throw all these things in all at once, because you're not going to be able to sustain it. So again, pick one or two things from this list, start implementing them. Once you feel like you've built that habit and you can consistently do it on a regular basis, then add another one. All right, so we've got three gratitudes. Write down three things that you're grateful for each day for 21 days. It's hard to be angry and grateful at the same time. It's hard to be sad and grateful at the same time. This is going to help start training your mind to look at the things you're grateful for, because right now you might be in a place where it's really hard to see what you can be grateful for. But I can guarantee you that if you're watching this video, you've got a lot of things to be grateful for. Write down three things. And if you really want to challenge yourself, try to make those three things different each day. So you're not writing the same three things down every day. Try to come up with some new things each day. Journaling, write about one positive experience each day. What was something positive that happened today? It can be really, really small. I made it to work safely today. I had a conversation with my son today. Exercise. Commit to doing some form of exercise a day. And even if it's just 15 minutes, push ups, sit ups, going for a walk, running on a treadmill, commit to something. As you move your body, it helps to tell your body that you matter. But also, as you build that physical strength, it helps you to build mental strength too. Meditation, there's a lot of different ways to meditate. But really, at the end of the day, what meditation is about is it's about silencing the distractions. It's about trying to find peace in the middle of chaos. And this can really help to train you to overcome anxiety, to help in situations where maybe your emotions are getting really strong. One of the really important concepts from the Bible as we're working through this is to be slow to anger. Meditation can help you to settle that anger down. And then random acts of kindness. As you're thinking about other people and doing nice things for other people, it can help warm your heart. It can help you to take the focus off of you, the struggles that you're going through, put your focus on helping someone else. All right, guys, again, I cannot stress this enough. Don't try to do everything on this list all at once. Pick one or two things. And I would recommend that you start at the top. Okay, if you're not praying every day, start there. If you are praying every day and you've got that habit down, start reading your scriptures. Okay? Even if it's one or two verses a day. Start in Proverbs. There's 31 Proverbs. Start there. You can read one a day for the next month. There's a ton of Bible study programs out there, a lot of apps, a lot of ways to make this easy. Pick something, start there. Daily, weekly worship, okay? Highly recommend that you put together a music playlist. If you have Spotify or some other, Apple Music or something, put together a playlist of music that lifts you up. Music that helps to take the sights off of all the chaos and turmoil that's going on around you and helps to put your sights on God. There's a lot of worship music out there, a lot of uplifting Christian music. Start listening to music. And just kind of work your way down the list, guys, as you begin to build these habits. After a few weeks, add another one. Let's start small. All right, guys. Do not give up.